All right, today we're going to create a personal project within Claude to help you write content for social media. So you could use LLM like Claude or ChatGPT to help create copy for your business. It could help you create personal content for maybe a personal brand of yours. You could use it for a whole bunch of things, but today we're going to use it specifically to help us make LinkedIn content. I'm also going to probably help use it to make Instagram content or just copy in general for marketing related reasons for my personal brand. The reason we're doing it in Claude instead of ChatGPT or Perplexity is because I simply think Claude is the best LLM out there for creating content related outputs. That's just a personal preference of mine. You'll find people on the internet might agree or disagree on that, but Claude has been my favorite for this. Currently, I'm using a Claude Pro plan, which is $20 a month. That allows you to access projects within Claude. So over here on your left, you'll see you could do individual chats as well as projects. In projects, you could hold a whole bunch of information in there about yourself, including custom instructions for a project. It could include a whole bunch of information or previous content that you've created to essentially help train Claude to create better outputs for you. So today, we're making a personal project. Again, $20 a month on Claude. Let's start with naming it. So we're not going to name it my name. We're going to name it custom. Actually, let's change that. Let's do content creation helper. What are we trying to achieve? Don't think too hard about these things. We'll be inputting a ton of information and custom instructions. So just say, generally speaking, this project will help me create social media content for Ryan Shooter. And you press create, and then we're ready to get started. The first step is to load in project knowledge. Why do we do this? Well, we need the AI to understand us better. The way Claude works is once you load in a ton of knowledge about your business or about your personal brand, it's really able to replicate content that you've created in the past to have a similar tone as you, or to create similar or more relevant content based on pieces of content you've already created in the past. So a very important part of creating a content creation helper is loading in previous content. The way I did this is, for me personally, I loaded in a lot from LinkedIn. So oftentimes I'm operating from my LinkedIn profile. So what I did is I made a Google Doc and I copy and pasted a whole bunch of stuff from my LinkedIn into this Google Doc. So I copied my about page. I copied previous posts that I've had and just copy and pasted it all into a Google Doc, which is one of these 3 PDFs here, and then inserted it under the project knowledge. Additionally, I loaded in a specific offer letter that I have for my business. So this is training the AI to understand what sort of offers I have within my specific consulting and personal brand. So just the more info, the better. And then additionally, I loaded in an ICP, which stands for Ideal Client Persona or Profile. And this is to help the AI understand who we are specifically trying to reach with our content. So for me, that is specifically small business owners making about 1 million a year or up, who are ready to grow and scale their company. They probably have a couple employees and they're in some specific fields. So I, in as much detail as I could, described my ICP in a different Google Doc, saved it as a PDF, uploaded to the project knowledge. So those are the couple of documents I have in here, but some different things you could add based on your business. You could add all of your website copy. If you have a really good website where you base all of your work from, I would definitely add it in here. You could add Instagram content. You could add job descriptions from your company. You could add any Google reviews or testimonials you've had. Really, everything you have, I would load it into here. And it doesn't take too long. Just copy and paste it all into a Google Doc. It doesn't have to be pretty. But the more information the AI has about you, the better content it could create. For step 2, we're making project instructions. So this is a set of instructions that will run every time you prompt this specific project in Claude. However, before we add any information in this section, we need to first do something. And that is, we have to summarize all the content I've added to create a brand identity summary. So I asked ChatGPT to help create this prompt for me. But essentially, the purpose of it is to create a comprehensive brand voice that creates consistently recognizable communication across platforms. So this will help us make custom instructions for our project. This prompt will take all this info and summarize it in a way that will help us train the AI. So let's just run this prompt directly within the content creation helper. Here's some of the things it'll ask about, and let's see what it looks like. Talks about defining a core voice profile. Talks about voice ingredients. Yep. I don't know industry BS, but a lot of this I like. Generally speaking, you should read over this and see if it describes your voice accurately. If you particularly like the content it creates and you agree with the sort of tone and structure of the outputs, I would say copy and paste this into a Google Doc and save it. Otherwise, I would prompt the AI to create something different for you. So if you don't like something specific, for instance, I didn't really like how it worded calling out industry BS and hollow promises. I don't think I really reflect with that in the content I've already created. I would prompt it just saying, hey, reword this part, and then it'll give a better output. Make sure you're bullying the AI to help you understand or help it understand the best way to portray your brand. And once it comes up with a brand voice or a brand identity that you like, feel free to save it. All right, now we're ready to set project instructions based on our brand identity guide that we created. So I took this prompt from ChatGPT. I asked it to help me make a prompt specifically for this, but essentially taking my brand identity and creating it into a set of project instructions for Claude to carry out to help me make content. So the output was, you're an expert in AI behavior, design, and brand strategy. Your task is to take the following brand voice and transform it into a detailed set of custom instructions that Claude can use to generate on-brand content across all platforms. So here are some of the platforms I currently use. I already input the brand identity guide below, so you can see it's listed right here. And additionally, it gives a set of outputs. So we'll see what those outputs look like. I might like it, might not like it. Again, this is just ChatGPT's suggestion for me today. So based on my brand identity, let's see what it says. All right, a little corny from the start. Battle-tested fractional COO. I don't like that wording, so in the future, I'll tell Claude to reword that. But I like the things that follow. So I like being direct without being harsh, confident without being arrogant, and practical without being boring. Those things are all great. Talks about some core voice traits that I should have in my content. I should talk about language and style guidelines, certain phrases I like to use. I like all of this stuff. Do's in my content. I I love a lot of this stuff. Leading with results is great. Don'ts, yeah, don't sugarcoat problems, avoid industry jargon. All of those things make sense for the kind of content that I want to create. And then it gives some specific strategies for different types of content I'm creating. Some signature moves that it has noticed me doing in the past. So let's pretend I liked all of this stuff. I would simply copy that here, and then going back to our projects, I would insert it into the project instructions. So to summarize everything we've done so far, we added a bunch of content from our website, from LinkedIn, from Google. Any sort of copy we had on our business or content we previously created, we added into our project knowledge. Then we created a brand voice or brand identity. And based on that brand identity, we created a custom set of instructions, which we pasted in here. So now let's give it a go. I am going to ask Claude to create a LinkedIn post with 1,000 characters about the important reasons why SOPs are so important. So I might like it. I probably won't like it because I didn't really define these super well, and I have a lot of edits to make with the custom instructions. But for kicks and giggles, let's see what it spits out. All right, certainly looks like a piece of content I would create. Typically, I'm making a lot of these lists in my content that kind of goes over different reasons why, just laid out very simply for my reader to look at, especially in my LinkedIn posts. I like to do this. I'm no longer really a fan of the emojis. I'm going to ask in my custom instructions specifically to take those out. Additionally, some of the writing does look a little more like AI versus what I would write. Like, I always see these dashes. This usually means AI generated this content. So in my custom instructions, I already know a couple things I want to add to make sure that I am improving the outputs it gives me. But generally speaking, this does look like a type of post that I would like to share with people. So that is the whole process to creating a content creation helper with AI. So if you would like more information on how to do this, or if you would like any sort of resources to help you getting started with this process, feel free to message me or comment on this video. And I hope you enjoy.